So, Zayed, thanks for contacting me, and it was good to nice. It was nice to talk to your parents. Uh, Now, can you tell me about yourself first, and then we'll begin our meeting?
What I talk about?
Can you tell me about yourself, what you're doing, and how my sessions can help you, and what kind of guidance are you looking forward from me?
Um, I'm not really good at math, so I need like extra help after class and stuff.
Okay. So you shared with me some questions which are, I think, from your textbook.
Yeah.
So I'll take up solutions of those questions. I'll try to figure out what exactly I should be teaching you so that you really get the concepts. The
Okay.
whole idea is to, understand the topic well and then sail through it. You
Yeah.
had been having difficulties with mathematics. Now that chapter should be over once you are in contact with me, hopefully, and you should be doing fairly well. Okay. So let's hope for the best. And we'll try to have a meeting regularly at this time and keep sharing with me. Whenever you watch my videos, a simple advice is that write your comments there so that I know exactly what you have done and I should not be repeating that. And based on your comments, I can actually make new videos and help you understand the topic better. Okay. So moving
Okay.
forward, that will be a great asset. Let me share with you the screen which I have prepared, lecture which I have prepared for you today. Uh, so what we'll talk about, can you see my screen now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you want to understand about the linear system in the message which you have given to me.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about what are linear systems and how to solve equations with substitution method.
Okay.
Later, next session, we'll take how to solve equations based on elimination method. I will always answer all the questions which you share with me so that you understand their solutions, since
Okay.
those are of prime importance to you. However, I'll prefer that you try some of my questions. Uh, Keep them as a reference questions for yourself. That should always help you to get better marks, right?
Yeah.
Normally, you'll see in test papers that you come across questions which you've never seen before. Correct?
Yeah.
If you watch my videos, you will actually never have surprises in your test for sure. Since the way I design my questions, they have been based on last 5 to 6 years of test papers, and therefore I cover all kinds of examples, and I expect my students to get excellent marks. Uh, Likewise, you will also be getting excellent marks soon. Okay, but in this particular video, I will actually share exactly the questions which you have asked for so that we get conversant with our way of learning, and then we'll see how to move about. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so to begin with, let me actually first share the questions itself. This is what came from you, correct?
Yeah.
So this is one page which says solve each linear system using method of substitution. We have on this method four questions. Question number three is missing, but we'll discuss all four of these. And then you also shared with me the applications, correct?
Yeah.
So we have these application questions from 11 to 16. Uh, and you said it's very difficult for you to understand word problems and the application questions. So, Zaid, could you share with me what kind of difficulty do you face when you look at this word problem and you want to solve it?
I don't really understand what the question, like what are they asking me, and I don't know what to do.
Okay, so I think you have to get over this hurdle. And can you do me a favor? Question number 11. Can you read that question for me?
Um,
Yes, question number 11.
Give me 1 second. It's too small for me to read.
Oh, I see. If you have your own WhatsApp message or your book, you can read from your book.
I don't have my book, but I'll look from the picture I sent you.
Okay.
Um, Fitness club can fit charges $150 initial fee to join the club and a $20 monthly fee. Fitness RS charges an initial fee of $100 and $30 a month.
Correct. Continue.
A. Write an equation to represent the cost of membership at CanFit. B. Write an equation to represent the cost of membership at Fitness RS. C. Graph the two equations. D. Find the point of intersection. E. What does the point of intersection represent? F. If you're planning to join for 1 year, which club should you join? Explain your answer.
Perfect. Now, the thing is, when you read a question, what you need to do is you to pause in between. Now, but when you practice, you kind of know what the question is going to ask you, right? So as soon as you read, you know what these 4, 5 parts could be once we have practiced, correct? So that is one application question. We know exactly what to answer in this application question once we do practice of solving such questions. So first thing, practice. Is that clear?
Yeah.
With practice only it will come. Second, I'll help you guide how to read and write your equations, right? So when you
Mhm.
say fitness club can fit charges a dollar 150 initial fee to join the club and dollar 20 monthly fee. Now, there are some complicated words, the name of the club and all. This is all redundant information, not important. The important information here is we should highlight as or put it in our mind that charge is 150 initial. That's a fixed amount, correct?
Yeah.
And whenever they say $20 monthly, a rate, every month $20. Think like this. You want to buy a shirt costs you $20, let us say. If you buy 4 shirts, how much will you pay? 4 times 20, right?
Yeah.
And if you buy 5 times 20, so it gets multiplied by the number you want to buy. So that 20 is the rate, correct?
Mhm.
And this 150 is kind of an entry fee. Like you want to enter some place, you have to pay some amount. And then inside you have snacks or anything, pay extra, right?
Mhm.
So we have a linear equation which describes the scenario y equals to mx plus b, right?
Yeah.
That is your linear system, one part, one equation, linear equation. Y equals to mx plus b. M, which is the slope, is actually the rate. Okay, so
Yeah.
this row m should be treated as rate, and b, which is the y-intercept, is actually the constant cost which you are going to pay, 150 in this case. Okay,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
So now we have equation in our mind, and that is y equals to mx plus b, where m is the rate. In this case, rate is 20, right? So it'd be y equals to 20x plus the y-intercept is 150, 150. Is that clear to you? So you get your
Yeah.
equation as soon as you read your sentence. Every sentence gets translated into an equation in mathematics. Now, the other thing is, you should also rephrase your equation. I know it is important to write y equals to mx plus b. Sometimes it may be more important to write the number first and the rate later. So many times in applications, we may write y equals to 150, the fixed amount, plus 20 times the number of months, right? So we
Yeah.
may write this as 150 plus 20m, where m is your month, correct?
Yeah.
Now let's get back to this equation once again. We need to define our variables, and that is our first step. So we have to pick the words from the question itself. It says, write an equation to represent cost of membership, right? Cost. So we have to write, so C, charges or cost becomes our Y value, what we want to find, right?
Yeah.
So instead of using y equals to mx plus b, we'll write c, preferably capital C, equals to, now we say rate, monthly, right? So number of months is our next variable. So you could choose, let c be the cost, n be the number of months. So instead of writing x, we'll write n now. Is it okay?
Yeah.
So we'll say C equals to 20 times N. Every month you have to pay that, plus a fixed charge of 150. Done. Do you get your equation?
Yeah.
So as you read, you get some variables in your mind. All these variables should have initials which are related with the application. So you say let the cost be C, capital C, let the number of months be N, then the equation is C equals to 20N plus 150. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So whenever you begin, first step will be to define your variables. That let statement is 0.5 marks in a test paper. If you do not write this let statement, you lose 0.5.
Yeah.
Okay? So you say let this equals to this. Now, second statement should be what is given to us. Then you write fixed cost is 150, rate is $20. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So when you write fixed cost, it is dollars 150 and rate $20 monthly per month. So whenever you have monthly or per month, right, you know that is a rate. Units tell you that this is a rate. And therefore, you have your equation now. Third statement will be the equation C equals to 20N plus 150. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So these three statements will go as solution to part A, correct?
Okay.
Now we'll go to part B. We say, write an equation to represent the cost and membership of a fitness R, right? Now, what we realize here is that we have two different clubs, right? But if I use C and C, it is confusing, correct?
Yeah.
Which C are we talking about? So we will say can fit, I will define my variable as C, lowercase c as a subscript, right? Like in, you write sometimes in superscript and subscript, correct?
Mhm.
So it is better to use C of C, right, as a subscript. And for Fitness Club R, you can write CR. Is that clear to you? So
Yeah.
that you know the first cost is for the can fit, the other cost is for the R, right?
Yeah.
So later on, you don't get confused and you clearly mention which is better when. Is that clear? So
Yeah.
we'll modify our equation and again write CC equals to 20N plus 150 and CR initial charges are 100 and rate is 30. So CR will be what? Tell me.
Right.
What will be the equation for CR?
For CR, it would be one. It would be CR equals
Yes.
30M plus 100.
Very good. So that is CR. So you got both the equations. Perfect. So you're
Yeah.
done part A and part B. Part C is to graph these equations. To graph the equation, you know, you have to begin with the y-intercept, which is a fixed cost. Correct?
Yeah.
So for first equation, you'll begin at 150 and slope M gives you the rate, which is $20. So you'll go up for every month, you'll go up by $20. Do you get the idea? You
Yeah. Yeah.
begin with 150, next stop will be 170, then 190, and draw a line connecting them. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Now, this is a great question. Whenever we're talking about monthly charges, you don't pay daily, you pay monthly. So I'll prefer you to draw a dotted line. Dotted line says we are paying after every month. It is not continuous. Is it clear to you?
Yeah.
Dotted line. But in this particular case, most of the teachers don't really mind if you draw a solid line. But take care, sometimes it may be very critical. So you got both the lines and they will definitely intersect somewhere. That point represents what for you? Can you tell me, please?
What? What? What?
The point of intersection for these two lines will be what?
Uh.
Part D of the question is find the point of intersection. E is what does this point of intersection represents? Well, at that point, both are charging same cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So CR and CC are same at that particular point, right? It is common for those many months. Perfect. So if you take membership for those many months, then it doesn't matter which club you join. Both are same. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, F is if you're planning to join for a year, that means 12 months, right? 12 months, then which
Mhm.
is better? So you have to see from your graph which is lower, correct? Lower is better for you. Does
Yeah.
make sense to you? So that is going to be our approach to solve such questions, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to question number 12. And from your notes, can you read question number 12, please.
Okay. LC Video rents a game machine for $10, a video game for $3 each.
Yes.
Vid rents a game machine for $7, a video and video games for $4 each.
Tell me, how will you solve this question starting from step number 1?
Define the variables.
Correct.
Let's
Define it. Define it.
yeah. Should I keep reading?
Yeah, you define the variable and continue with solution.
Okay. A. Write a linear equation to represent the total cost of renting a game machine and some video games from LC Video. B. Write a linear
Yeah.
equation to represent the total cost of renting a game machine and some video games from BigVid. C. Find the point of intersection of the two lines from part A and B.
Yes.
D. Explain what point of intersection represents in this context.
Exactly similar question as we did just now. Correct? No
Yeah.
change. So you have to follow the same pattern. You see how the questions are repeating? For
Yeah.
grade 10, there are only 5 types of questions. Do you understand, Zaid? Only 5 types of questions. This is question type 1. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So in your notebook, make 5 pages of 5 types of questions. If you can do them, 100% you are going to get in this particular type of question paper. Is it clear? Application.
Yeah.
Right? So that is over for you. Now, tell me, how will you solve question number 12, starting with defining your variables and what names should you choose for your variables?
So for the LC video game machine,
Yes.
we'll call it LC.
Okay.
And for BigVid, we'll just call it BV.
Okay.
And then, do I go to the
Next
equation?
step. Yes. Equation. Yes.
So for LC, it would be LC equals $3.
3n. You can say 3n, number of
Okay.
times. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
3M plus 10.
Correct.
And
second one?
for BigVid, it would be BV equals 4M plus 7.
Each. Perfect. That is exactly right. Right. So you got
Yeah.
both the equations. Now the next part is to sketch the graph. How will you sketch the graph? LC. Begin with LC graph.
Do I draw it?
Yeah. No, just tell me. Explain. You'll start with the fixed value, right?
Yeah.
Which is $10. So you'll start at $10. That is your y-intercept. And then for each, you will go up by 3. That is the rate. Rise over run. Correct?
Yeah.
Then again go by 3. Again go by 3. Join these points with dotted line. Similarly, follow and draw the graph for the other. Big width. And then you're done. They will intersect somewhere, say, the same cost. Is that clear to you?
Yeah, now it is.
I think that should not be difficult. Now, what I did was, actually, I worked on all these things which you provided. We'll take up substitution method and those solving equations later. Let's talk about the word problem, right? So here is your very first question, which we have already discussed. And the question here was, the two fitness club and which one is better for 1 year. That was the question. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So what I did was, I have not shown the working which we have already discussed, and see, verbally, we could explain how to write an equation. So for our club can fit, the dollar value, fixed value is 150, which is shown on the graph in red, y-intercept of 150. Now, you go up by 20 every month. So it'll be like 170, 190, and so on. So we get this line, which is the red line. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Now, take up the other fitness club, which starts at 100. That is the 100. Initial cost is much lower, but the value is 30 per month. It rises faster and faster, correct?
Yeah.
If you plan to go for less than 5 months, then your fitness club R is better. But as we go beyond that point where they intersect, then you find that initial payment of 150 is worthwhile, correct?
Yeah.
Because at the later stage, and definitely for a year, somewhere there, the value for the fitness club can fit will be much lower, right?
Hmm.
And the point of intersection shown right there is same charges. Do you see that part?
Yeah.
So when you draw, you have to label your diagram, write down the charges on the y-axis, months on the x-axis. The variable, if you're using m, write m. If you whatever you use, you may use x also. I'm not against x. I'm not against t or something. You can use y equals to mx plus b. However, you'll find it more important, easier to refer to if you write relevant variables like cc and cr, correct?
Yeah.
So you can communicate better. And these application questions also have communication marks. So you have to describe what you're trying to do as you provide your solution. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Now, if you are planning to join for 1 year, which club should you join? Explain your answer. Can you explain your answer to me from this graph?
I would join fitness can fit because
Okay,
in the long run it costs the cost it's less than fitness or us.
perfect. Now you lose zero point 0.5 marks for this. You have the right answer though. Reason is that you could provide additional information, that is, you could substitute 12 for x and exactly work out how much extra you are paying by going to the other club or by how much is it cheaper. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So calculate the value for 1 year for both, right? Then say 20 times 12 plus 150 is the cost you are going to pay, which is much cheaper than 30 times 12 plus 100, correct?
Yeah.
And you save this much by joining that club. Once you write that, you get actually full marks, and you might get some bonus marks at the end, since the communication question actually may help you get more than 100%. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
Have you seen it ever?
Pardon?
You are going to see it as we continue. If you write answers like that, you may just get beyond 100%. Okay? It sounds vague at present, but it can be a reality. Many of my students do get that kind of, marks. Okay? Absolutely clear, or you have some doubts?
No, it's clear now.
Easy for you now, right? Any
Yeah.
difficulty? Very easy, correct? That is how we have to approach. Let's take question number 12 now. So you see, again, I have drawn the diagram. We have already discussed the solution, correct?
Yeah.
So we have LC videos, which is a machine $10, and video games is 3 each. So see, $10 and 3 each. That means the fixed cost is 10, correct? And
Yeah.
each time you go up by 3, and that is your rise red line. Does it make sense? So easy,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Fixed cost. Next, fixed cost $7. Okay, dollar for each. Each means a rate. Okay, so we go fix $7 and then go up blue line. In between, definitely they are going to cross. Wherever they cross, the rate is same. Now we are interested in figuring out the other questions. And now I think explain what is the point of intersection representing here in this context. Can you please explain?
Explain what point of intersection represents in this context.
Yes,
It means that at one point both the cost is the same for the game machine, the video games
yes,
from both stores, video game
correct.
stores.
So good point is you can see that at 3, if you play 3 games, right? For
Yeah.
3 games, you pay some amount. So it's good to read that amount from the graph or calculate from your equations and then write down very clearly that if you are playing 3 games, you are paying the same charges to both the clubs, right? Which
Yeah.
is so many dollars. But if you want to play extra, then it is better to go in LC video. But if you just want to play 1 or 2 games, in that case, big video is better. Correct?
Yeah.
Once again, let me emphasize. it is good to calculate the values and talk in concrete terms. Okay?
Yeah.
0.5 extra marks. Now, you have to evaluate. If, yeah. So, Zaid, you have to evaluate. If you do not provide communication, I mean, explanations, in that case, you lose zero point 0.5 communication marks. But if you are providing some explanations which are worthwhile, you might get zero point 0.5 extra marks, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you here. And it is relevant. So get into habit. We'll discuss all the questions. Here is question number 13 for you. Correct? Now, you can read question number 13 from your notes, right? Tell
Yeah.
me what are the two equations?
Um, Jeff clears the driveway in the winter to make some extra money. Charges. It would be HS equals HS equals 15H
Yeah,
plus 150.
there are two different things. So,
Okay.
can you read the question, please, from your notes loudly?
Okay. Um, Jeff clears driveways in the winter to make some extra money. He charges $15 an hour.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah. So that is your first equation, $50 per hour. That means fixed cost is zero. If he doesn't clear, he doesn't charge. Correct?
yeah,
So you
yeah,
begin with zero, and then every hour keep on adding 15. So in 10 hours, add 150 and draw the line. Done?
hmm
2 points. A line basically needs only 2 points to draw and use convenient points. For here, 10 times 15 is 150. So I get my 1.0 starting 150. Zoom. You get a straight line. That's it for Jeff. Now, second statement.
Um,
Heskey.
Haskell's and snow removal charges $150 for the season.
It means what? What is the equation?
So it'd be H equals 0 plus 150, or would it just be 150?
Yeah, just 150. 0 plus
Okay.
150 is also
Yeah.
150. It's a horizontal line, right? It
Yeah.
is fixed. Whether you call 10 times, no time, 5 times, whatever, we'll just deposit 150 with us. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
So if it snows a lot, he is cheaper. Otherwise, that person could be expensive. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We get a point of intersection. Definitely, it means the same thing from both the guys. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So all the questions have similar answers. Don't you think it is becoming so easy now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Next question, please. Question number 14.
14. Okay. Brooke is planning her wedding. She compares the cost of places to hold the reception.
Yes.
Limestone Hall, 5,000 plus $75 per guest.
Oh. So first one, limestone hall charges this much. Can you explain me the equation for this one?
So it'd be LH equals $75 G
Mm-hmm.
plus 5,000.
5,000, right?
Yeah.
Good. So you're defining variable G for guest, right? So 75G, that's a good thing, right? Just pick up the value from there itself. Plus
Yeah.
5,000. So you graph it. 5,000 is fixed, correct?
Yeah.
Make a table of values. Just put G as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there you go, the red line, correct?
hmm
Good value could be 10 or 100, correct? Easy calculations, depending on what numbers we are working with. And so you get your values. Now, it's also very important to, write an index for your graph or choose a scale. You see how the scale we have taken 5,000, since the amounts are very big, correct? It begins with 5,000, correct?
Yeah.
So 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 could be on the Y scale, and number of people 20, 40, 60, 80, and so on, correct? It's a big
Yeah.
meeting, right? Okay, so it's a wedding planning. So we are looking into big numbers. So this time in the guest list, we have big numbers, okay? Now read the second statement, which is?
Frontenac Hall, 7,500 plus $50 per guest.
Yes,
So
equation.
it would be FH equals 50G plus 7,500.
Excellent. Graph.
Use a graphing calculator to find.
No, forget. Will not
Oh,
graphic. Okay.
oh.
How will you graph?
You'd start at 5,000 for times from.
75, 70, 7,500. That's your
Oh, for that. You start at 7,500 and you'll go up $50.
correct each time, right? 10
Yeah,
times 50 is 500. Then add. Do you understand? And
yeah,
just go. And then they will intersect somewhere, which definitely means same charges. You can say approximately for 100 people, they're charging the same thing. If you are planning for inviting more than 100 people, then the blue line is better. Otherwise, the red line is better. Is that clear to you, right?
yeah.
And all other questions, every time they are same kind. So you just check their, what they're asking for and write their answers. Do you see how 5 parts of these 4 questions we have done so easily, correct?
Yeah,
You have understood the concept?
yeah.
This is one type of question. You also shared with me 2 more. Let's go beyond that. And this one here is uh, is a similar kind, correct? 15. Do you understand? Or do we need to discuss this?
No, I understand it now.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. Now, question number 16 is different. You see a lot of different things here on the screen, correct?
Yeah,
So this is the second type of question which you're going to hit. So we have already done type 1. I think we'll need extra time to work on type 3 and 4 or 5. But for type 2, we'll discuss today, and you need to practice from your book some questions. I'll also give you links for some questions from my videos, right? So watch my videos and you'll get good methods to solve. Is that clear?
yeah.
Please read question number 16 from your notes and then we will see how to solve it.
Ramona has a total of $5,000 to invest. She puts part of it in an account paying 5% per year interest and the rest in a GIC paying 7.2% interest. If she has $349 in simple interest at the end of the year, how much was invested at each rate?
Perfect. Now, to understand these types of questions, you have to have more knowledge about simple interest, correct?
Yeah.
Sometimes in the test papers, they will include the formula for simple interest. Otherwise, it is expected that you know it. So in this
Mm.
case, the formula is for simple interest, I equals to PRT. That's the formula. Do you know this formula?
No, I don't know this.
Okay. Interest is amount which you pay, rate at which they are giving you interest times the time you pay, put your money in, right?
Yeah,
So let's say you have $100 and you put it into a bank account who are paying you, let's say 5%, and you put it for 5 years. So they pay you for 5 years, correct?
yeah,
100 times the rate, which is 5% times 5 years. Okay, good. Now, whenever we talk about rate in the question, it is always given in percent. But in calculations or writing equations, we are always using decimal value. Is that clear to you?
yeah,
We don't write 5%, right? Some calculators do have percent, you can work with that, but we prefer to write decimal value, 0.05, correct? So first thing first, you should know what formula is. So that's the formula. Make a note of this formula, where I is the interest, P is principal, that means the amount invested, R is the rate of interest, T is the time in years. Is that okay? And this is simple interest formula. We have a different formula for compound interest, but most of your questions will be based on simple interest, and this formula can work. Now, as I said, first step is to convert interest rate to decimal value. We have 5% and we do have 7.2%. This is the wrong thing which I wrote. Let me just cross this out. Okay. So 5% really means 5 over 100. That is the meaning of percent, correct?
yeah,
When you divide 5 by 100, use decimal. Move it to 2 places, right? At present, decimal is after 5. Move it to 2 places, you get 0.05 as your decimal equivalent of 5%, correct?
mm,
Similarly, 7.2% will be 0.072. That is the decimal equivalent for 7.2%. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, let's work with the question. We are having total of $5,000 and we have a choice. We could put some amount at 7.2% and some amount for 5%, correct?
Yeah.
You don't know how much are we placing, but we know the end result. That is, we have total interest of 349 and we have total amount of 5,000. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
This is the table which you are going to always make for any question based on interest. So we have a method to solve. Okay. So we begin with the amount itself, which has to be invested, correct?
Yeah.
We don't know at present. We say let the amounts be X and Y. X is invested at 5%, Y is invested at 7.2%, correct?
Yeah.
Using the formula, we can calculate the value of interest earned, which will be X times interest, because year is one only, 1 year, correct? So T is 1. So use this particular formula, P or T. We know P is X, R is the rate of interest, 0.05, and T is 1. So I've written 0.05X. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Similarly, for Y amount, it should be 0.072Y. So we have to convert to decimal to write the equation. And now, how do we get the equations? Well, clearly, these verticals give you the equation. That is your equation. X plus Y is 5,000. You have 5,000 to invest. A part of it goes as X, the other part is Y. So you get your first equation, which is X plus Y equals to 5,000. Clear?
Yeah.
The second is, what do you get out of it? You get $349, and the combination is those two. Add them up and write it equal to 349. Do you see the second equation?
Mm-hmm.
So these verticals, both where you have the endpoints as 349 and 5,000, gives you two different equations. X plus Y is 5,000 and 0.05X plus 0.072Y is 349.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Now we have to understand how to solve a system with substitution, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to teach you the method here and then we'll apply it in our question number 1. So we are starting with a very difficult thing. So first step should be isolate one of the variables, right? Write down a note in your notebook. Isolate one of the variables.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I wrote it.
In this case, both are like X and Y. You could isolate any. But normally, we select the one which is simpler and where we do not land up in fractions, okay? So
Yeah.
we'll choose X. We say X is equals to take 5 on the Y on the other side. X equals to 5,000 minus Y. And this will be our first equation. Is that clear?
Yeah.
From the first equation, we kind of change it and write it in one variable, X equals to 5,000 minus Y. And second step, we already had the second equation, which is 0.05X plus 0.072Y equals to 349. Substitute X value for X and get the third equation. You see this equation. Now, what are we doing here? This particular value of 5,000 minus Y, which is the X value, has been substituted there for X. You see that?
Yeah.
Once you substitute, you get equation in single variable, which is Y. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So you got everything in Y, expand and simplify. When you expand, you may have to apply distributive property and like terms should be combined, all those strategies which you learned earlier, correct?
Yeah.
Combine the like terms, isolate the variable, get your answer. So these three steps are combining the like terms after applying the distributive property, then isolating Y, find Y. Go through the steps. Okay?
Okay.
Are these steps clear to you?
Yeah. Little.
Little. No. So the very first step is right here, where we substitute the x value as 5,000 minus y. Is that step clear to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, distributive property. Do you know what is distributive property? Multiply 0.05 with 5,000 and then you get 250.
Yeah.
When you multiply 0.05 with minus y, you get minus 0.05y, and then you have got the third term, which is as such 0.072y equals to 349. Is this step clear to you?
Yeah.
Very good. Now, combine the y terms, 0.072, take away 0.05, you get 0.022y. Is that clear? Y remains, right? Like terms.
Yeah.
Take 250 to the other side, 349 minus 250 is 99.
Mm-hmm.
Is this step clear to you?
Yeah.
Now divide 99 by 0.022 to get your answer. So that is the value of y, 500.
Okay.
Once you know y, go back to your first equation, x equals to 5,000 minus y, find x. X will be 5,000 minus 4,500, which will be 500. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So why we actually found y as 4,500? We have to take away 4,500 from x. So the other amount was 500. Then you have to write down your answer very clearly as written here. $500 invested at 5% and $4,500 invested at 7.2%. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, Zed. Explain me how are you going to solve this question in your own words.
Okay, so you start off with the uh
You can take help of the screen to explain, okay?
okay. Uh
So we begin with the formula. First, you have to read the question. As you read the question, the highlighted portion should get in your mind. And these are the key terms, correct?
yeah.
Don't get lost into Romana and other names, right? Forget about them. Just say R. R has total of this much. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Forget what they are writing. R has total of this much. And just R is your variable, correct? Or
Okay.
amount A is your variable. P is your variable, right? Don't get lost in GIC.
Okay.
Remove redundancy. Do you get the idea? Word problems are loaded with redundant material. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Filter it out. That's the very first step. Filtering. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, oh my God, it's just $5,000 to be invested at two places. One gives you 5% interest, other one gives you 7.2% interest. And when you invest, you get the dollar 349 after 1 year. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Does it sound okay?
Yeah.
Exactly, this is your question. So you will say R has invested 5,000 in two different places. One place gives 5% interest per year. The other place gives 7.2% interest per year. These are simple interest. Total interest earned in 1 year from both the places is 349. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
That is how you have to understand the word problem. All other things are not important. Correct?
Yeah.
Then the last statement. How much was invested at each rate? How much was invested at each rate gives you your variables. You have to answer this question. That is critical. So you begin. Let X be invested for 5%. Let Y be invested for 7.2%. Is that clear?
Yeah.
You know, this question has to be solved using Anil Kumar's table, this which you see right here. Do you see that table now?
Yeah.
As soon as you read your question based on interest, just make this table. We are interested in three things: amount invested, rate at which we are investing, and the interest which we get.
Yeah.
These are your three different columns. Then you just plug it in. 5,000 is the total amount. Keep total at the bottom. It helps you to make an equation, correct?
Yeah.
Then you say, let me put X for 5%, Y for 7.2%, right? Then you will say, well, percent should be converted to decimals, right? So 5% means 0.05, 7.2 means 0.072, correct? Not 0.72, 0.072. You may do it on the side, 5 divided by 100, 7.2 divided by 100. Show it in your workplace, right? You have to show this as a part of solution. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Therefore, the left-hand side where I wrote the formula and a simple calculation is important. On the right-hand side, we begin with the main part of the solution with the table. In the table, we are writing amount, interest, and interest earned. The amounts are X and Y, and their total is 5,000. That gives us the first equation, correct?
Yeah.
Interest earned is 0.05x. You just multiply all the three. That is what interest is. Multiply everything, principal, rate, and time. In this case, time was 1, so we didn't write anything. 0.05x, correct?
Yeah.
And the other amount gave interest of 0.072y. Add them, total is 349. We get the second equation. Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we'll apply the method of substitution. For that, first step is to isolate one of the variables. X equals to 5,000 minus y is the variable which is isolated. Substitute this variable into the second equation. So we get 0.05 within brackets 5,000 minus y plus 0.072y equals to 349. Correct?
Yeah.
Apply the distributive property, expand and simplify, get your answer, write clear answer with units, dollar value, right?
Okay.
That is how you're going to do it. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's begin with the simpler part, which is how to solve by the method of substitution. I think you have learned the steps by now. These are the questions which are shared by you from your book. I'm just taking them up from there.
Okay.
You need to practice now from my question sets, okay?
Okay.
Now, in my question sets, I will not give you such simple questions. I'll involve decimals, I'll involve fractions, the questions which you will be expecting in your test paper, right?
Yeah.
So I have already shared with you some playlist. Go through them once we complete our lecture today in another 10 minutes, okay? Now, question number 1. Can you read the question for me, please?
Solve each linear system using the method of substitution. Check your answers.
Check your answer. Two things. First, you need to solve. Second is to check your answer. Don't miss on the second thing. Otherwise, you lose a lot of marks for not checking, right?
Mhm.
Now, let's first understand how to solve system of equation. When we say system means more than one equation. Is that clear? There could be
Yeah.
2 or 3. So system means more than one. In this case, we have 2 equations. One is y equals to 3x minus 4, x plus y is 8.
Mhm.
First step is to isolate one of the variables. We have 2 variables, x and y, and good thing for you is it has been done for you already, correct?
Yeah.
Y equals to 3x minus 4. Good job. Substitute this value here. Is that clear?
Yeah. Why?
So you get x plus 3x minus 4 equals to 8, right?
Hmm.
So that's what we are going to do. Since we know that, here is the solution. So we know we just substituted 3x minus 4 for y, correct?
Yeah.
Y equals to 3x minus 4. The second equation, what I'm trying to say here is that we know this has been isolated, right? The second equation is x plus y equals to 8. So what we have to do here is we have to substitute this for y. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So once you do that, you get your equation, which is x plus 3x minus 4 was y value equals to 8. We now have an equation which is only one variable equation. You can combine the like terms, x and 3x, add together to 4x. Take minus 4 to the other side, add it to 8, you get 12, correct?
Yeah.
Divide by 4, get 3 as your answer for x. Now, get back to your equation where you isolated, correct?
Mhm.
Which is, where did we, where, this one, right? This one, correct. Substitute x as 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Take away 4, 5. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Find y. So, since you have equation in x, you got the x value as 3. Solution means you have to find both x and y. Substitute back the value of x, which is 3, into y, right? The first equation.
Mhm.
Once you do that, you get the y value of 5. So you have your answer, which is x is 3, y is 5. How will you check? In one of these equations, which you did not use, just substitute the value. You get 3 plus 5 is 8. Left side is equal to right side. That is the check.
Yeah.
Clear? Is that clear?
Mhm.
That is what you have to do. Now, in your test paper, you could actually test with both, right? But you could do that. Now, I have also solved question number part D for you. Let me go through this solution so that you understand the concepts. In D, 2x plus 3y equals to minus 1, x equals to 1 minus y. Already they isolated x, correct?
Mhm.
So we will substitute x in the first equation, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did here. So I substitute this value 1 minus y in the very first equation. 2 times 1 minus y plus 3y equals to minus y. Do you see that? We
Yeah.
have equation in one variable. Isolate y, get the value. Once you get y is minus 3, use this value in the second equation, which is x equals to 1 minus y. Get your answer.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
clear?
Yeah.
Once you know that x is 4, y is minus 3, check. So substitute back into your original equations and check. Is that clear? Left side equals to right side. Done. Does make sense?
Yeah.
Question number 2. Now, in question number 2, I have again solved. I'd like you to explain me the solution. Read the question first, please.
In each pair, decide which equation you use first to solve for one variable in terms of the other variable. Do
Yes,
that step. Do not solve the linear system.
correct. So only you have to isolate one of the variables, which is always the first step in substitution method. And what you note is avoid fractions, right?
Yeah.
You should not be isolating y because you have to divide by 2, correct?
Yeah.
Therefore, in the very first case, I will isolate x, take away 2y on the other side. Doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
In part B, I will isolate y. In part C, I will isolate x, and in D, I will isolate y. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Now, since it was minus y, I will take y on the other side, make it positive, and say y equals to 3x minus 5. Is this solution correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's move on to the next question. Next question is also solved, correct?
Yeah.
So, you know, first step is you need to isolate a variable. Second step is substitute that variable. That is why the method is known as substitution method, correct?
Hmm.
Zed, is this speed okay or am I going fast for you?
No, you're just refreshing my memory. Like
Yes.
I
Very,
remember doing
yeah,
this now.
good, good. So, can you explain me how did I solve part C of this particular question, please?
Part C.
Yes. Solution is given right before you. Explain me, how am I doing it?
So you rearranged it and you made n equals 2 negative 2m. So
Yes,
you switched 2m and it became negative after.
yes.
And then after,
In the second equation, which is 3m minus 2n, I kept 3m but substituted inside the value of n, correct?
yeah, yeah. And then after you did 2 times 2 times negative 2m.
Yes. Distributive property.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then after that,
Simplified.
you got, pardon?
Simplified, like terms combined,
Yeah.
got the value of m, right? Once you find m, you have to substitute back and get the value of n also. We need both the values and write
Yeah.
down your answer. M is 7, n is 0. And then check your result. If you put 7 for m and 0 for n, do you get the right answer? This is what you have to do. I think something went wrong. M is not 7, M is 1. Sorry for that. Sorry, M was not 7. It is 1, correct?
Yeah.
1. So if you substitute 1, 2 times 1 is 2, which is correct. Is that clear?
Yeah.
And if I substitute in second equation 1, 3 times 1 is 3, that is correct. N was 0, correct?
Yeah.
Similarly, you can now solve other questions. Easy, correct?
Yeah.
Last question, question number 5. It says, find the point of intersection of each pair of lines. Point of intersection is the same thing. Simultaneous equations to be solved. You can do it algebraically as I have done here. You could also do it on a graph paper, right?
Mhm.
So in your test paper, they will specify, do it algebraically, the way I have done, or they will say on a graphing paper. Then you have to sketch the graph and then find the answer as we did in our application questions. You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
So either way you could do. But in this particular case, I've taken example E. I thought that is slightly more difficult. So I took example E and I've solved algebraically example E. And I found the point of intersections. Important thing here is when you say intersection, you have to write the coordinate points in this form.
Mhm.
So that is important and critical since they want point of intersection. Is that clear to you?
Yeah.
Coordinate point is supposed to be the right answer and the solution is right before you. So I'd
Yeah.
like you to tell me, do you understand the solution? Just go through it.
Okay. So E, right? Okay. So you substituted uh, two two plus
2
two
plus
y
2
and you put
y
it
in the
into,
second equation, correct.
yeah.
From the first equation, I isolated x. That was the only single variable given to us, right?
Mhm.
It was already isolated. Take away all of the terms to the other side. So we get x equals to 2 plus 2y. Substitute that in the second equation for x. You get
Yeah.
equation in y, solve for y. We got y value is 1. Substitute 1 back into equation number 1. Get the x value, which is 4. And write coordinate point 4, 1. X value has to come before, right? X, y.
Yeah.
And that's your answer. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So with that, we come to an end of today's lesson.
Okay.
Now, Zaid, I'd like to have your clear views on how did you find this particular lecture? Was it useful?
Yeah. Now I'm sorry. I remember everything from what I did in school.
Okay,
Now
and
it's,
you can easily solve similar questions.
pardon?
You can easily solve such questions.
Yeah. I think now I can do it.
Perfect. So the idea is that I'll like you to work on more questions based on this. Also, the
Okay.
videos which I'm sending.
Yeah.
Whenever you watch my video, you can take the question as your test question. Pause the video at that time. Read the question, answer it yourself, and then play the video and check your solution. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So that ways you'll get hundreds of examples to work for. And I have so many videos, you know that.
Yeah.
Now, uh, once you do that, then try to do the extended questions from your book. Your book has some extended questions, correct?
I don't have my book.
From where did you give me that page then? WhatsApp?
My summer school teachers, they give
Yeah,
like the
okay.
unit. Okay.
Or whatever. Okay, then your teacher has shared with you the questions. Uh,
Yeah.
Solve all the questions. Wherever there is any difficulty, just send me. I'll provide you with the guidance to solve. Is that clear?
Okay. Yeah.
My idea here is like a guide to solve. help you solve, okay? But you need to do the needful of solving and testing. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And once you feel comfortable, we'll start with the next topic, which is solve by elimination. Perfect?
Yeah.
Or anything in between, if you have, let me know. I'm here to help you out. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Fine. So we'll end it today at this particular point. Feel free to get in touch with me for any difficulties and let me know. We'll organize the next session on Monday. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Perfect. At 1, see you then.
Okay.
Thanks and all the best.